Welcome back to Milk Mummies, the podcast where we explore the real stories, struggles, and solutions for mums everywhere. Today, I'm joined by Shakira Taylor, a wellbeing coach, fitness trainer, and passionate advocate for women's health. Shakira is a voice in the menopause and PCOS space, using her own journey to educate, empower, and break down taboos around women's bodies. From lifting weights to lifting women up, she's all about showing us how movement and well-being can transform our health at every stage of life. We're diving into her story, her expertise, and some practical advice you won't want to miss. Let's get into it. Shakira, welcome. See, I nearly went into song already. I'm an actual adult. No, but I'm an adult. You're an adult. No, but how many times do you get that?
It's only adults that do it, to be honest. Do you know what? I don't get offended. People were like, oh, you must get so offended and upset. But I'm like, no.
It's really...
Yeah, I really don't. Seriously, so don't worry if it does happen.
You're so
but your hips don't lie, and I get all of that.
Things. Yes. Guys, for context, I knew Shakira was coming on the show, and hips don't lie has been in my head. So I'm singing Shakira the whole time. I was like, Rach, you can't do that when she's here, and that's one of the first things I did when she got here. So
don't worry.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I am very well, thank you. Fresh off my holiday. It feels like a million years ago when it was just a few days ago. So
I know that feeling.
Lonely tear dropping down my face, but no, I'm really good.
Good.
Thank you so much for being here and coming to talk to us about all things perimenopause, PCOS, women's health. When we had our last conversation, I think I learned things about perimenopause that I didn't know existed. I didn't even know that perimenopause was a thing. So I was like, okay, Shakira, you need to come and educate myself and a whole bunch of people. So
I'm just thinking back, I overshared a lot in that short space of time.
But it was useful. And
good.
It made me go, girls, did you know this happened? And quite a few people didn't know that. So I was like, genuinely, this is necessary, not just for me, but I think probably for a much wider audience as well. Yeah. I mean, I'm ready to get into it.
Good.
Yeah? Okay. Good. So I guess, can you share a little bit about your journey with perimenopause and PCOS and how that inspired the work that you do now?
I'll try and keep it short because I know what I'm like. So I am, how old am I now? It was my birthday the other day. I'm 44 now. That's it. I had to think then.
Happy birthday.
Thank you very much. Yes, Leo in the house. Just saying.
Okay.
So I was 44 the other day. So perimenopause, and at the time I had never heard of the word perimenopause either. So that kind of crept into my life. And tried to destroy things. When I was around, I say 39, but now through everything I know, I actually think some of my symptoms might have started when I was 37, which is very young. But yeah, so I've been in perimenopause now. I'm doing my time. I'm doing my sentence. It's been over 4 years.
Wow.
So yeah, it's been a bit of time.
Is that normal or is it very person to person?
So it's very person to person. So the average woman, they say, and more research is coming out, perimenopause is like the first stage, so to speak. That can last anywhere between 2 to 8 years. But what they're finding for like black, brown, Asian women, so women of colour, I'll just say it like that, it can last anywhere up to 12 years, perimenopause. So that is quite concerning.
Quite a time.
Yeah, it's quite a time because I've been in, so four and a bit years now I've been in perimenopause. In terms of PCOS, so polycystic ovary syndrome, I got diagnosed with that, I want to say roughly, because I was talking to my mum about it the other day, and I think I was about 18-ish, so that was a very long time ago. And back then, all I was told, the reason why I went to the doctors, I'd been on the contraceptive pill since I was about 16. But I started to develop, I had a beard. I am not even joking. Wow. I was so hairy. And back
just
then,
in that area, or just
it was mainly. I had a moustache, but the beard was real.
Intense.
Like I would not leave the house without makeup. Where I was plucking all the time, I was getting scars, and because I'm mixed race. Well, not just because I'm mixed race, but I've just got skin that scars very easily. So I'd be getting all scars, and it was just like this vicious cycle. And I'm like, what's going on?
At that age as well, right? That's
at
just
that age,
another thing to be dealing with.
Then I was using, I don't know if they still make it, I was using Jolene, which is like a bleach.
Yes.
So I used to bleach my moustache, and I was bleaching my chin. Then I started using Imac because I didn't want to shave. What's it called now? V. Oh,
yes, it is. Oh my gosh,
really showing my age. Yeah. So I started Imacing, but it was just like, this isn't normal. Why am I so hairy? But I was also I just had it in my head I was just greedy, and I'd always had a problem with weight. But I didn't know that was one of the symptoms of PCOS. So it was the weight, like the struggle with weight, and just really the hair, which was my main concern, because I didn't actually have problems with my periods, because normally that's one of the symptoms of PCOS. So anyway, I went along to the doctors, and they done tests, and I think they even done a scan back then, which thinking about it was quite rare. And they were like, oh yeah, you've got polycystic ovary syndrome. And their advice was, just continue to remove the hair off your face. It was called hairetism. I think that's how you pronounce it. They were like, oh, you're going to struggle to conceive, and you're probably just going to be fat. That was the advice they gave me.
Thank you so much.
So they were like, just try and do whatever you can, but that's, off you go. So I was like, oh my gosh, and at 18, I wasn't really thinking of having children anyway.
But that's the thing to kind of contend
that was
with.
In my head, and I was like, oh my God, so I'm just going to be fat then, because I'd really struggled in my teens. So then back then I was going to like Slimming World and Weight Watchers and all them things with my mum, like things that I would never advocate for now. But back then that's just how it was.
You're finding your way, and you didn't know, right?
Special K diet, all of them. I'm of that generation. So, but it's funny because thinking back now, like I was told that information, but I just didn't really, we didn't have the internet back then.
I hear you.
There wasn't books about women's health. I don't know, but it just kind of, I processed it and then just moved on and didn't think to like do more about it and think about lifestyle changes, nothing like that. So I've had that since 18, but kind of got it under control, I'd say, like when not through my 20s. All my 20s I was yo-yo dieting, struggling with weight. I wasn't anything in the health and wellbeing world. I wasn't doing anything
and that
like
wasn't really a thing back then in the way that it is now. Right?
No, definitely it wasn't.
So the resources there and where to look must have been really difficult to find unless you had a real guide to help you navigate that space, right? And it didn't sound like you did.
Definitely not. And I just found that when I then came into perimenopause, after years of completely forgetting about PCOS, to be honest. When I came into perimenopause, the first year wasn't too bad. But then coming into my second year, it's like it flared up is the only way I can describe it. My PCOS symptoms came back with a vengeance. So now I'm trying to manage, which sometimes can be complicated, perimenopause symptoms and PCOS symptoms because they both, sometimes they require the same thing and sometimes they require separate things, which is just like another layer of complication. But not to scare anyone. But that's why, and I think I said to you when I met you, that's why I've been so passionate, because when I went into perimenopause, so I was, like I said, I was 39, it was coming up to my 40th birthday. Especially when I went on social media, I was like, where's the black women? Where's the brown women? Where's the women that are my age? Because, like, no offence to anyone, and everyone will say this, when I Googled menopause, it was like white middle-class women with grey hair, purple cardigans on, even though I love the colour purple, and they looked so depressed. And I was like, well, that doesn't represent me. Like, yes, this is happening to me, but where's the women? Because 39 is not old. And for some reason, when women and society in general, when they think of menopause, it's linked to aging.
Yes, it is.
And that is a bad thing. And it really isn't, because 44 now, I am not old. Like, I am middle-aged, which I didn't realise I was until, like, a few months ago. And I purchased some Echo walking sandals. So I'm officially middle-aged.
Amazing. Prepping and getting into it comfortably.
Is, like, great. It's a really good time, especially for me personally. Like, my daughter's 21. I'm, like, living my life now. And I'm not going to be told that, oh, you're middle-aged. Oh, you're in menopause. That's the end for you. That's kind of why I speak so openly about it, and I want more women, because I think in my mid-30s, if someone would have said to me, start getting ready, at first I'd have been like, okay, whatever.
What are you talking about? Of course.
Because I knew as menopause as the change. That's what my mum referred to it as.
Literally, that's exactly all that I know, all that I heard, and it definitely is something that I would have associated with getting a lot older.
Yeah,
but
50s,
right?
60s, yeah.
Completely. So not in the 30s, 40s space at all. And also, I think me and some friends spoke about this as well, like thinking about what we thought 40 was, what 50 was. When we were kids, that seemed so old and so far away.
Yes.
But now that we're now in that space, navigating that space, it's like, oh my, it really isn't.
Yeah.
So you're as, again, as they say, you're as old or as young as you feel, right?
Yeah.
But again, I wouldn't have associated a 44-year-old, a 40-year-old, a 39-year-old dealing with anything relating to menopause at all. So yeah,
it
crazy.
Is definitely. So I really wish, like, looking back now, especially when I was in my kind of mid-30s before the lockdowns came, I was like my fittest, my healthiest. Well, I thought I was. I was to a degree, but there's definitely things lifestyle changes I could have started to make then that may or may not, we don't know, but it may have kind of reduce some of the symptoms that I've experienced, possibly. And that's the kind of thing about perimenopause. There's a lot of lifestyle things that we can do to prepare. But then there's also a lot of lifestyle things that you do, depending on how severe your symptoms are and how much they're impacting your life, that you do need to, well, when I say you do need to change, if you're willing to change, will make a difference.
Got you.
But that can be a hard conversation for a lot of women to have as well, which is, it's tough, but it's reality as well, unfortunately.
I wanted to then sort of lean into, I guess, what were some of the biggest challenges you faced personally, and then how did fitness and well-being help you through them?
I think probably the biggest challenge, because like I said, literally one day we was out of all the various lockdowns, but I was still teaching a lot of classes online. I was well into like online training. So I think this would be 2021, if my maths is correct. And I went from feeling amazing, great. One day I woke up and I was like, oh, really bloated. But, I probably just ate something. It's okay.
Stuff.
Then the next few days I was like, wow, this bloating is kind of getting out of control now. And then I realised, like, I'm needing to go wee quite a bit. So I was like, okay. That carried on. And then I was like, okay, I think I've got a urine infection. So I went to the doctors about that. And the bloating by now was just getting out of control to the point where I bought a pair of maternity leggings. Because my stomach was so big. Especially where I was online a lot. Then I started buying really baggy T-shirts.
Got you.
So I was like, something's going on here, because I'm having to change like what I'm wearing. And it was really making me feel low. But I wasn't telling people that at the time. My first symptom, and which a lot of people don't realise, was recurring urine infections and the bloating. I went back and forth to the doctors over don't even know how many months to, in the end, I had 3 different courses of antibiotics. And they kept coming back to when the last time I said, I've been on Google, which is the doctor's work.
Dr. Google, love it.
I had to. I was like, I've been on Google and all these urine infections and I'm starting to experience low mood. I said, I think I've got menopause symptoms. And they were like, no, you're 39. You can't. And then when I started researching more, I was like, perimenopause? What the hell? I just was like, I've never even heard of this word. So I think the loss of confidence when I think back now, because then all of a sudden, like, my waist just kind of disappeared. Like, a lot of things kind of happened in such a short space of time that had an impact on me. And if people want to call it vain, I don't care. But how I looked was some of the first things that I started to see changing. And I really wasn't happy about that. And then the bloating, the urine infections, then getting dismissed when you go to the GP. Like, which was so many things.
You had that quite a lot, right?
Yeah. And especially looking back now, and it was a conversation I had with some lovely ladies called Letting Loose. They do a lot around education, especially for the culture around periods and different symptoms. And they actually shared with me that a lot of black women, when they present at the GP, are seen as being promiscuous. And especially because I kept going with the urine infections, they kept saying to me, you sure you haven't got an STD? And I was like, I haven't. I said, I'm not even sexually active at the moment. I mean, I would like to be. Know. They were like, they made me do pregnancy tests, they made me do STI checks. So I'd done all of that because I knew I wasn't. And I was on the coil anyway.
Yeah.
But that didn't even cross my mind then. But thinking back now, I'm like, so they were just thinking I was sleeping around, not taking into account what actually was happening. So yeah, definitely that knocked my confidence. But then it just kind of also, the flip of that was it made me be like, no, I need to get out there and voice this, because imagine the women that are not as confident as me, that are not kind of already in tune. Because I was in tune with my body. I knew these things weren't right.
Yeah.
Then when you're going to the doctors and being told, oh, it's nothing, oh, it's this, oh, it's that, I now see why so many women end up not saying anything. Yeah. So that... definitely, I'd say my confidence was knocked at various different points on my journey, because when you're going through all these different changes, and it's not just physical changes, it's mental, it's emotional, it's physical, it can really take its toll. So yeah, that was challenging.
Of course.
And then finally, being dismissed and all the rest of it, which is very common for a lot of women when they present, especially being told you're too young.
Of course.
Which really, the research shows now, for some women, it can start anywhere from 35, because your hormones are slowly fluctuating and declining from that age anyway. It's, hopefully, I'd like to think when women present now, even if they are 39, they're not being told they're too young.
People are going to take that seriously, or at least spend more than a 10-minute chat with you and delve into something.
But I finally got a good... So it's not me slagging off doctors, by the way.
No, I hear it. And also, I get it. It's also that individual experience with whatever GP or doctor you have, how forthright you can be, how well informed you are. I know we can lean on Google and AI or whatever else to find facts to help us present our arguments or our cases in spaces with people who are in an authoritative situation or a position where your doctor knows what they're talking about, so you must be wrong, right? So I think I get it. Now that we're being as informed as we can do, hopefully it is allowing for better or wider or more thorough conversations. Know, right?
I mean, I know they hated, because I was like, I've been on Google.
I know what I'm talking about.
I've been on Instagram, but that's when I really I was like, I need to find these women. So look, definitely one of the first people I found on Instagram, I'm going to give her a big up, is Menopause Whilst Black. I've actually been on her podcast as well.
Love it.
I found her, Karen Arthur, and I was like, there's other women out here that, and then I just started, you know what it's like with algorithms, I started finding other women. I started finding doctors that were on Instagram, like Dr. Louise Newsom. She was she was really informative. And through social media, like, if you curate, is that the word, isn't it? Yeah, in the right way, it can be such a powerful place. And definitely through social media was one of the ways that I found you can actually be diagnosed on symptoms rather than your blood tests. Because I kept going for blood tests, and on that day all my hormones decided they were going to behave.
Nothing's wrong here.
Wrong. She's changed.
What's she talking about?
There. Yeah, she's changed nonsense.
Sorry, you can swear, please swear. I miss swearing.
So I know, and I was like, literally every time I go to the blood test, in my head, I know this sounds really... I was like, you better not ramp today, yeah? You better just show... I was like talking to my body.
Tell the truth.
Tell the truth. Tell them. Because they was all taking out my right side. I was like, tell them, not like my hormones were in my arm. So I'm getting the blood cut and I'm looking at the blood. I'm thinking, you better behave. And every blood test was like, your hormones are showing that you're normal. I was like, no, I'm not. So they went back and I found out that you can be diagnosed on your symptoms. And that for a lot of people has been such a game changer. And I would say to anyone who's listening or who's thinking they could be in perimenopause, or a family member, if there's any men, because I always want men involved in the conversation. If they're thinking about, their partner, sorry, Mike, their partner, their friend, whoever, like, start keeping a symptom diary without being dramatic, like things that just don't, there's little things sometimes. And like a lot of people were saying to me, especially like over the years, they're like, not everything is perimenopause, Shakira. And I'm like, really? Isn't it? But if you're not informed about could it be perimenopause, at least if you understand some of there's so many symptoms at the moment. I think the latest research I saw is like over 64.
Wow.
There's a lot of... NHS still say there's 34, but that's lies told, because I've probably been through about 34. I'm sorry. There's so many symptoms out there. Like, whoa, it's unbelievable. Okay. And the reason why I want women to engage in the conversation, like I said, it might not be perimenopause, but if you don't know what perimenopause entails, exactly, you can't rule it out then. Yeah. You know, and like I said, a lot of people be like if I walk into a bit of furniture, I'm like, menopause. They're like, not everything. I'm like, you'd be surprised.
You don't know.
Yeah, because your hormones, especially estrogen, you've got hormone receptors all over your body. So you've probably heard about, I mean, you get brain fog when you've had a child, innit? But
yes, you do.
Brain fog, like, I didn't think about the cognitive like function when you go through menopause, like that brain fog, that forgetting things, that, you know, like just before we started, you saw me like just going into overthinking mode. That never used to happen before. Wow. I'll just be like, just get on. I always you say, oh, I'm like stress free. I don't worry about anything. And I am relatively stress free, but that overthinking, I'd never experienced that before. Okay. Like constantly, I never used to check the tubes before I left the house. So you know when I messaged you saying, oh my God, that's a lie. Like, the overthinking I go through now, I'm just my God. Listen, my phone on this, on that. It's just like, not to scare people, like I say, but if you're not engaged in the conversation, and like I said, it's not just women, men need to be involved. Every man has a woman in their life. Yeah. So understand what your mother's going through, your sister, your cousin, aunt, your partner, your work, you know, you spend a lot of time at work, your work colleague, like children. My daughter, she's got no choice. Like, she's been on this journey.
Hear it from the source.
So she's 21 now. So 4 years ago, I can't do the maths. Would she have been 17?
Oh my gosh, don't put me on 17. She was.
So I know I couldn't do the
maths. So stressed me out. Oh my God. Okay.
That was before menopause. I could never do maths. I was crap. I don't know how I passed maths GCSE. But she's been on the journey as well. Yeah. And even she's like, sometimes when I hear her, she's like, sounds like your mum's in perimenopause.
Oh, hello. She knows. Oh my days.
Like, the woman at work, mum, I'm going to give her your business card.
Oh, I love
because
that.
I think she's suffering with menopause.
Look at her.
So she's really, I mean, that generation are different anyway, but she's a lot more, and she's like, okay, I need to start. I'm like, you don't need to start preparing at 21, but just there's no harm.
Have the info. Yeah. And as you said, making the right lifestyle switches or nutrition switches that work for you and things like that. And like, obviously, I know you're very much into fitness. How did fitness and well-being, how did that help this space for you as well, actually?
Massively. I mean, obviously, I know I'm a personal trainer, I'm a coach, fitness is my job. Yeah. But when I first started going through the symptoms, especially that severe bloating, fitness was the last thing on my mind. Fair. Okay. And I've been very open about the turbulent, like, because of how you feel about your body. And obviously this is individual to me, and not every woman goes through this, but a lot of women I work with, a lot of women either I'm working with on a one-to-one basis, or when I go into like workplaces and talk about menopause, like that feeling of not feeling yourself. So then the last thing you're thinking about is, let me get in the gym.
Yeah, of course.
Like I started to experience gym anxiety, which I'd never experienced before, like really overthinking. Even sometimes now I'm in the mirror and Mia's like, oh, is it one? That's me. That's my daughter. She's like, is it one? And she's shouting from my room, is it one of those days, mum? Because I'm in the mirror going, come on. Yes, come on.
Open yourself up.
She's like, you've been in there for about 20 minutes. You're not leaving yet. I'm like, come on. Like, I can do this. I'm going to do it. So it's normal to feel like you don't want to work out, especially if your body's changing. But strength training has been one of the things that has been consistent throughout my journey. Even when I haven't wanted to go and lift weights, or I've done it at home because I haven't wanted to face the gym. Even sometimes when I first start the workout, I'm like,
that
having a tantrum, like a little child.
Of course.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then I'm like, no, it makes me feel better, because a lot of, a very common symptom, I should say, is just aches and pains out of nowhere. Yeah. So when I first started experiencing that, I was like, oh, I've really got like delayed onset of muscle soreness. I shouldn't just say DOMS, like everyone knows what that is. I was like, oh. But then I was like, I didn't even work out yesterday or the day before. Like, why have I got these aches and pains? So that can be a menopause symptom, like all of a sudden aches and pains in your joints and stuff like that. So that in your mind can make you think you don't want to exercise, but exercise is one of the most powerful tools, whether it's in the gym, at home, whether it's stretching, whether it's walking. But a thing I say a lot and everyone hates it, I'm like, move more, sit less. Not in a way of like in the olden days when they would say to us, eat less and move more. Not about that, not about like losing weight. So I just want to make that quite clear. But moving more and sitting less, because when you're sedentary for long periods of time and you're already experiencing low mood, aches and pains, getting up and even just shaking it out for 5 minutes, have a dance break, go for a walk, just anything to move your body frequently really does make a difference. And not extreme, not over exercising. Obviously rest and recovery is super important, but exercise is like, you cannot get away from it when you're in the menopause transition. It's needed. It may change, it may look different to you, but you need to move. There's no getting away from it. So that's definitely been a really important thing for me. Managing stress, which, like I say, I was like, I'm not stressed. I'm so relaxed.
I'm easygoing. I'm so carefree. What?
Things that were causing stress that I didn't even realise were causing stress to my body. So like, definitely not allowing enough time for travelling.
Got you.
Simple things like that. One that women do a lot, skipping breakfast. That is such a major stressor on the body. Like,
I can be guilty of that for sure.
It happens. I'm not saying like, and this is not me telling them what to do, but really understanding the things that are causing you stress. So things like that. I always say it, and again, everyone hates it. I'm like, sometimes it could be people, sometimes it can be places. So working out, you know, do you need to say yes to everything?
Yes.
Especially as a former party girl, I was always out all the time. I'm not saying I don't go out now, but always saying yes to, do you want to go here? Do you want to go here? Do you want to go there? Do you want to go? And constantly saying yes and giving over that time, I didn't realise was causing me a level of stress. So really understanding the things that can cause you stress. And sometimes there's a lot of surprises in there. So definitely I say to people, like, think about your boundaries. That's with partners, with children. And the only way you can think about the boundaries and have that conversation is if you're open about, my body is changing, my mind is changing, I'm going through these symptoms. It's not saying that you need everyone to be, you know, doing everything for you, but I do think women need to delegate more anyway, especially as, you know, working mothers. You know, we need to delegate, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Normalising asking for help. And remember, know that you can ask for help, or try your best to make use of whatever support you've got around you. That can be I think that's a very difficult one to, I guess, make normal. That's terrible English, but I'm going to stick with it.
No, I know what you mean.
Yeah, so I think, I agree with that for sure. I struggle with that as well, but I'm trying to be very intentional about how and when I'm asking for help, and knowing that you will need help in this time, and kind of get in that space. So I hear that for sure.
So definitely stress. I'm just trying to think, what else was I going to say? Oh, sleep. Oh, what does that mean?
I know. I love sleep, but me and sleep, I just happen to break up a bit more and more. But I get it. Like, just being rested, right? Making sure you're resting.
Yeah, and, you know, I'm sure you do a bedtime routine for your daughter.
I do.
You need to do one for yourself.
I don't have one for myself.
I'm telling you, just little things like sleep is so important. Like, and making sure... Just even things like making sure that your bedroom is a place for sleeping, sex and self-care. That's all that should be going on in the bedroom.
Sleeping, sex, self-care. 3 S's, very vital.
The 3 S's, I'm telling you. Because sometimes, especially like I saw it a lot through lockdown, we were doing so much in our bedrooms, weren't we? We were working out, we were working. There was a lot going on. So then women are getting into bed and they're like, oh, I don't understand why I can't sleep. Because if you've got so much kind of chaos, and another key one, especially for women, working women, parents as well, doing loads before bedtime. Like, do you know what? That pile of washing can wait till the next day. Like, if you're running around doing loads and then you're jumping into bed and you're like, oh, I don't understand why I can't sleep. You've not given your body. And I really I had to change some of the stuff I do before bed. Need to definitely get better with my phone. But I've got so good with that, putting it into sleep mode for socials, the scrolling.
Yeah.
Like really protecting that sleep. Like everyone that's close to me, they know I'm like, I'll say it again.
Out.
Yeah, and don't ramp with my sleep. Like people know. Don't ramp with my sleep, don't ramp with my food, don't ramp with my time. That's probably my favourite. I'm like, sleep is so important.
Yeah.
So it needs to be an emergency if you're disturbing my sleep.
Yeah. No, all very good tips. That's brilliant.
It is.
Very good tips.
But I mean, there's loads of other ones, but I would say those are definitely the key ones. I'm not going to talk about nutrition because that's a very individual approach. And definitely what I've realised personally and professionally is that, and I'm not a nutritionist, I'm not a dietitian, I'm not trained in that.
Yeah.
But for a lot of women, that is worth investing in when you're going through perimenopause. Seeking the proper professional support from a dietitian or a nutritionist because how we eat, how we used to eat really changes. And again, that's a very hard conversation for a lot of women. Like, especially now I've given up alcohol. 300 days sober.
Ooh,
actually, it's been more than 300 days.
Congratulations.
304 or something.
Amazing. Do you feel better for it?
Yes.
Oh, wow, crazy.
And I'm a former party girl.
I get it.
I used to not even have doubles. I'd be having triples.
Ooh. I can list all my favourite wines, all my favourite tequilas, my favourite thing, all the rest of it.
All the doubles, the triples, the shots. But I just realised, unfortunately, and I love alcohol. I do. I'm not ashamed to admit it. But I had to realise, it just wasn't, especially because I suffer with hot flashes. Like, they've been one of my most crippling, debilitating symptoms.
Yeah.
And there was just certain things that I couldn't do anymore. So the alcohol, I realised, was contributing. I had to reduce my caffeine. I haven't stopped. That has been really hard. I can't.
See, I'm not a caffeine person, so it's so interesting hearing this. I mean, look, if I have... I rarely have coffee. If I have a coffee, it's a caramel macchiato, which is not even really coffee at all.
It's
just
not.
sugar. Yeah. Period. So I'll go work on that. But I don't have coffee. So if I have coffee, it impacts me. So I definitely see that shift from regular Rach to Rach who's really up here.
Yeah.
It's intense. I don't know how people do it. Done 2 or 3 cups a morning or whatever on coffee. I'm like, how are you functioning?
I was on like... probably 4. I'd got myself down to 4 cups.
Freaking me out. What do you mean 4 cups? That's
but I used to function on, like, before lockdown came in, I used to function on like 6 coffees a day.
Oh my goodness.
Still sleep. Well, I said I still slept, but really I wasn't getting that deep sleep.
Crazy. To me, that's I can't compute what that feels like. Because one drives me nuts. I'm just like, in the most fun, crazy kind of way.
Yeah.
But anything more than that, I don't know where I'd be.
I love it.
Just game over.
I just like, you can see it in my face. I love the smell of it. I love the taste of it.
It does smell great.
But now I'm like 2 coffees a day, which is just like, I'm going to have... Oh,
you do?
I've got one more due before 1 o'clock. I'd have to check the time.
Oh my God. Okay.
So that was hard.
All right, I hear you.
The alcohol and the coffee. But again, that's just what's helped me. So everyone is very... And I think that's what you realise about perimenopause. And that's why I just really encourage people to share, like, what works for one person might not work for you. But at least you can, like... dive into it, investigate it, talk about it, consider it. You don't have to do what everyone's saying, but there are really some basic things that every woman, even if your symptoms are not severe, like, so every woman is going to go through menopause. It's inevitable. But what I always say is, like, suffering is optional. So if you don't tune into your body, you can, for some women, have a really bad menopause journey, especially if you keep ignoring it. Like, I will speak to women and they're like, shh.
You don't want to talk about that?
Proper shush me down, you know? Yeah. I'm like, but... they're like...
Nope. Not here for it.
I'm like, okay, like... what? And then if you speak maybe to their friends and family, they're like, I don't know what's wrong with her.
Oh, okay.
And I'm not saying it is always menopause, but I feel like if you're in denial about it constantly, because it's a natural part of aging, and aging is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And our hormones changing is not a bad thing. Like in other cultures, like especially in Japan, for example, like they celebrate it. It's a season. It's like a really powerful stage for women. Okay. You know, but unfortunately here, it's definitely changing. And I'm sure you've seen like on social media and stuff, like it's getting a lot more positive talking about menopause.
Yeah, I think so.
But
more spaces
there's still
for it.
that association with aging that needs to change. And
in a negative way, it's true.
Yeah,
it is true.
It's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
It frustrates me.
No,
but
so it's nice to hear that it is switching. And again, I think the fact that we're developing language or using more language that gets us talking about these things, and we're creating spaces so people feel connected and they can find their communities about this.
Yeah,
I think that's really, really helpful. But I guess I wanted to circle back a little bit to perimenopause, and I guess in your opinion, why do you think conversations around that are so limited, and how can we normalize that? And there's a big question, but
I think they're probably limited. It does go back, and this is not criticising anything, it goes back to the conversations that you have in the home.
Okay.
And your culture as well. Okay. I've definitely seen there's a big difference between different cultures and how they talk about menopause, how they approach it. And again, if you think about when my mum, it's actually been a really good journey for my mum, and she won't mind me saying it, because now seeing what I've gone through, she's done a lot of reflecting, and like, sometimes I see her, she's like, that was my menopause. Wow, like, we knew she went through menopause, or the change, as we used to call it then. But a lot of things that were happening to her, for example, like she started to have a lot of problems with her teeth, and we didn't realise that was actually a menopause symptoms. Like, and it's starting to happen to me now. My teeth are moving more and stuff like that. So when I was thinking back to when my mum was going through it, she didn't talk a lot about it. But then when I spoke to her now, she's like, well, my mum never spoke. Those words never even came out of my nan's mouth. Menopause, like problems down there, as they would call it, or, you know, like you not feeling yourself. It wasn't heard of that a woman back then would say, I'm not feeling myself. So my mum's 70. Yeah. How old is she? 50. Oh no, here we go, maths again. She's going to be 71. I do think then. That's not a menopause thing. Yeah, so she's going to be 71 next week, actually. Yeah, congrats, but looking back now, I think she actually started relatively young as well. So early 40s she started. All right. But her symptoms have been very different. And that's what she was saying. It's so interesting because her symptoms were so different to mine. Yeah. But now we're talking about it a lot. So I think going forward, like for Mia, so she's 21, her generation, because she's got no choice, there's not a day that goes by that I do not mention the word menopause. Yeah. She's like, let's do a bet. Let's see if you can go day without talking about it. I'm like, let's see if I can go an hour without talking about it. So I think a lot of it does start from the home. Yeah, okay. And your friends, like friends having the conversations. In the beginning, my friends weren't that open about having those conversations because, again, it was like, I'm so dramatic, as you can probably tell. When I realised what it was, I was like, oh my God, everybody listen. Yes. This is what's happening. We're all the same age. You're going through it. And not everyone wants to have that conversation in it. So I think it's changing. It's becoming a lot more positive. And really, I want people to realise it can actually be quite an empowering time as well. Even though I know I've used the word like symptoms being debilitating and, you know, it knocked my confidence. Yeah. But equally, it made me realise like, there are things that I can do to take power. And again, my daughter will be like, oh no, is it one of those days? I'll be like, not today, menopause. You're not taking me out today. Fair enough. I've got stuff to do. Yes, of course. And you're not going to start with making me feel like this and making me feel like that. Like, I really do have some random conversations with myself.
Listen, you're in good company because I do too. So this doesn't feel unusual or awkward to me. I get it, like genuinely. But because sometimes you do have to have that moment to check in with yourself. And that's what you're doing. You're checking in with yourself. Yeah. And if you're just doing it verbally and out loud, then that's just what it is. Yeah. And your body has to listen. So c'est la vie. So good company.
But I do think it is, like I said, I'm very optimistic. Yeah. I'm very happy about how it's changing. I'm happy to see men getting involved in the conversation. I'm not so happy to see men telling us what to do, but I'm happy for them to be in the conversation.
Be in the conversation, participate and learn.
Because, I won't get started on that.
No, that's fine. Yeah. That's another episode. But that's a very welcomed episode. But I hear you. Like, you know, come to the table, learn, ask the questions, be open, right? Yeah. And that's just, everybody just needs to be as informed as they can. Because as you said before as well, I think it's so vital. men have women in their lives in so many different ways. So it's important to understand as best as you can, or at least have a glimmer of understanding that this may be the phase that they're in and how you can be supportive in that space. Yeah. Even if it's just pointing them towards a resource. And that's important. I
think another thing I would add, I mean, I know your daughter's quite young, but for the, obviously, parents that are on this, watching this podcast, having those conversations with your children, because I think that's what I mentioned to you when we met. I was thinking now at my age, like if I was dealing with my daughter when she was first going through all her hormones.
Got you. Yeah.
And me being in perimenopause. Yeah. The two, we're seeing this a lot now because I had Mia quite young. I was like 22. Yeah. But there are a lot of women that are my age that are dealing with 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds, you know, they've got their raging hormones. So again, because there's not a lot, it's changing now in schools. They are going to start talking about menopause, menstruation, in a lot deeper way. But again, having those conversations at home with, it doesn't matter if it's a girl or a boy, any teenager needs to also be involved, I think personally, in that conversation of understanding, because there are days when you feel crap. Yeah. And I'm not saying it means that you're going to slack off, because as we know, you can feel crap and you've still got a parent, haven't you?
Parenthood doesn't switch off.
I feel like if you're honest and having those conversations with your children, especially for your teenage girls, it will help them understand about their hormones as well, and the cycles that obviously they've got the 4 different phases, so what they're going through, and understand on the days that they need to be kind to themselves, and those days actually they need to be a bit kinder to mummy as well, because she's not a robot, she's not a machine. She needs a bit more, you know, can I attempt to wash up even if you need to rewash it? But, you know, do you know what I mean? Like,
I hear that.
It's really a full circle kind of thing, getting everybody involved, because it makes a difference. Because when we're thinking about managing our stress and managing our emotions, we need the people around us to support us in that. So
I love that you said that, because it kind of leans into my next question, where it's like, for mums who are managing motherhood and their hormones and any health challenges and things like that, like what are simple, realistic steps that they can take to support their own well-being? I know you've talked about what you can do in the home with the people you live with, but for themselves, what can they do?
I would say, without sounding, I can't think of the word, but I'll just say it anyway. Getting on top of your time management.
Okay.
I know that can sound a bit patronising. That's the word I was looking for. And then we go, menopause. No, seriously, time management makes all the difference. Like paper diary. I know I'm old school.
I'm a fan.
Yeah.
But then I love to write things down and fill the paper as a whole sensory experience.
Yeah, but having that paper diary and writing things down, even I would go as detailed as like the time that you're going to work out, when you're going to go for your walks, when you're going to have your self-care time. Because when you're layering in being a mum, you might have your own business, or you're working, or however it goes. And if we add in then a partner as well, wanting stuff, attention, affection.
How dare they?
Do you know what I mean? Just sit down and be quiet. I'm joking. But, you know, there's so much going on, being social, having friends and all of that stuff. Like, there's so many demands on women. Yes, there's demands on men, but I'm all about the women. There's so many demands, but really getting on top of your time management. And what I said earlier about setting those boundaries and saying no, and they can be really difficult conversations, but it will make all the difference. Because I don't know if it's ever happened to you, like you've gone to things and you're thinking, why did I come?
Why am I
here? Because you didn't want to disappoint someone.
Things like that, or you thought it'd be useful, this and the other, and I get it. But then I have tried to be very intentional. If I know that I'm going to be feeling like that, I'm wasting my time, I'm wasting their time, my energy is going to be completely off. It's just not contributing in a positive way while I'm here. So I'm trying to be very mindful of where I'd rather spend my time. Definitely. I don't always get it right, but I'm definitely
and it's always going to be, we're never going to get anything right. And I'd say if you're listening to any personal trainer or coach who's like, you know, a day in my life and everything's great, and they're chatting crap. I'm just saying you're not going to get it right all the time, and that's fine. Do you know what I mean? It's always work in progress, and what worked for you maybe 6 months ago, you might start to realise actually that's not really working for me now. So I definitely say like that, time management, being a bit adaptable as well and flexible. You know, like I was saying earlier, now I look in the mirror and I'm like, I don't want to go to the gym. And so sometimes I might be like, right, okay, if I really haven't got the energy to go to the gym, can I go and do a stretch? Can I do maybe a body weight workout? So having that, that adaptability really to how, and then obviously, you know, like sometimes if you've got children being inconsiderate and being sick and stuff like that. Do you know, getting in our way of our routines. So again, you need to have, like, I know it sounds a bit cheesy, you need to have like all these tools in your toolbox ready so that when the day that you plan doesn't go that way, rather than it being like, oh, well, I've just got to give up on everything. Yeah. What else can I do? Do you know what I mean?
No, for sure. You touched on body weights and strength training again just there. Like, why is resistance training so powerful for women, especially in perimenopause? Okay.
How long have we got?
Okay.
No, I'm joking.
Just quick tips.
It's not even just perimenopause, just every woman.
Yeah.
I know they don't want to hear it, but we need to be in the gym. Doesn't even mean you need to lift weights if you really don't want to.
Yeah.
My end goal for any woman that I work with is to get them to fall in love with the journey of starting to feel strong.
Got you.
And that will look and feel different to everyone.
Yeah.
But if we think about women in particular, when we get to 30 anyway, our muscle mass is starting to decline.
Yep.
Then if you start to layer in our fluctuating hormones, like we're really realising now the link to osteoporosis for women, and a lot of them is due to what happens to them in their menopause journey, because for some women their hormones can just hit rock bottom. Obviously hormone replacement therapy is there, and that's a very individual choice, but outside of that, doing regular strength training. And when I say regular strength training, that could be like 3 sessions of 30 minutes, could be at home, could be body weight, could be with a resistance band. But ideally, if you can lift weights, that is the end where you want to get to, because it's going to help us to build and maintain that muscle mass. And it's so hard for women anyway. Like, a lot of women will be like, oh, you know, I don't want to get bulky.
Yeah,
like,
things like that. And it doesn't.
I wish I could get bulky. Like, that's why I'm taking all the HRT now, to try and get my muscles back, because the muscle, that was a really significant menopause symptom for me, was my muscle loss, and like trying to build muscle is a real struggle for me at the moment. And that's realising now it's another new menopause symptom that I'm experiencing. But you just want to be strong. I just say to women, like, if you think of yourself in this chair, you want to be able to get up from a chair unaided without pushing onto the sides.
Got you.
If we think about the NHS, this is not me slagging off the NHS, but you want to do everything within your power to avoid being in a hospital bed. And a lot of that comes down to being physically strong, which will help you to be mentally strong as well. So I'll leave it there. That is my case for
but I think that's
training.
the key. My PT says similar things as well, where just the importance of making sure, taking care of yourself as best as you can, so when you get to those older years, you're able to still do things unaided as much as possible, you know. So it's all linked. It's all important. It's all linked.
Because all the squats and the deadlifts that your PT is making you do, it's helping you with your daughter, picking things up. Going, you like to travel, you know. Then you see these women, they can't get their case off the conveyor. I'm like, nah, not on my watch.
Not for me at all. I guess lastly, if you could give one message of encouragement.
What? Do you not know who I am?
Okay.
I'm joking.
Sum it up somehow. If you can give one message of encouragement to women who are navigating these changes right now, what would it be?
Oh my gosh, one message.
The pressure
is getting.
Couple of messages.
I would say, so who think they could be in perimenopause or are in perimenopause.
Who are navigating these changes right now, so who are in it.
Okay, so I would say, without sounding cheesy, please, like, believe in yourself. Especially,
that's not cheesy, that's just like mantra of life.
Especially if you're like sometimes getting dismissed by your GP, getting dismissed in the workplace. This is a thing that we see a lot, like 6 in 10 women, I think it is, leave the workplace due to menopause symptoms. This is a thing that I'm on. That's why I'm on a rampage when it comes to talking about menopause in the workplace.
No idea. Wow. Okay.
And menopausal women, they're the fastest growing demographic in the workplace, but yet they're not getting supported. So a lot of women, when you're you're navigating these changes, like, for example, if you do think of yourself in a workplace and you're standing up in a meeting and then you get brain fog, you forget what you're saying, you forget, or you get a bloody hot flash. Like, it's happened to me so many times. I've been doing online webinars and I'm like, oh no,
I feel
the heat starts rising up.
But what does it feel like? Just heat?
Yeah, heat. out of nowhere, just starts rising up from, for me, it was always like from my stomach.
Yeah.
Then it would start rising up here. It would get into my chest.
Yeah.
Then my head would feel like it's on fire.
Really?
I'd feel like I'm sweating massively, but you don't really sweat that much. I'm always quite shiny anyway, but the heat would be, sometimes I would sweat, and then I'd go really red.
Yeah.
So one of the first things I started doing was just normalising that.
Okay.
When I was like, especially online and stuff, I'd be like, hang on a sec, guys, I'm having a hot flush, just need to put my fan on.
Got you.
But yeah, sorry, I sidetracked a bit there. But these are the kind of things that are women that are going through. So I would say, like, obviously I spoke in the beginning about keeping that symptom diary.
Yes, that's right.
not just physical, that's mental and emotional.
Okay.
Like, that is so important. Think about like low mood that you might be experiencing, because a lot of women will present at the GP and they're told they're depressed. There's a difference between low mood in menopause and being depressed. There's a massive difference. Sometimes it could be a day or a few days, and sometimes it doesn't happen every month. But really being in tune and believing in yourself, especially if you're getting dismissed maybe from, at work, at the GP, or even your partner. I've heard so many stories where partners are like, oh, she's just. So if you're getting dismissed or you're talking to your friends and they're like, don't want to talk about it. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of women out there that they want to talk about it, but there's no one close to them that wants to engage in that conversation. So really believe in yourself, keep that diary, and understand it does get better. And if you can have a bit of humour with it as well,
makes it all a little bit better.
It really does help, because it's not forever, even though we do spend a third of our life in menopause.
Oh my god.
Even though I've just said it's not forever. But there are so many powerful things, along with, like, even though I've just described hot flashes and brain fogs, but do you know what is a really powerful thing?
Go on.
You get to a point where you're like, you stop giving a shit about what people think.
I'm looking forward to that.
When I used to hear people saying that, I was like, oh. And when my mum was like, it's going to happen, just wait. Not in a rude way, but you stop like living up to other people's expectations.
Yeah, there is a certain freedom that you see with elderly people. Like,
excuse me, you calling me elderly?
Not you, I'm just saying in general.
I'm joking.
Shakira's about to come for me. No, but like, there's that period where people just like, they don't care. And I'm like, I aspire to that level of just freedom. Just
it is.
Don't give a shit.
I'm telling you, like, there are so many, I promise, I'm not joking, but I promise there's so many powerful things that can come from it. And especially once you realise, and like I say, everyone's journey is completely different. Yeah. Some women might be listening to this and they're like, oh my God, I didn't have that symptom. Yeah. And you might not get it. Even though there's so many symptoms, doesn't mean you're going to get all of them. I feel like in my case, I've had all of them. Flipping out. The only one I haven't had, no, I have had that. Yeah, I've had all of them. Like, you name it.
Oh my God.
I'm not even going to start, but vaginal dryness, ladies, I've had that as well. Like, that needs to be spoken about. But yeah, I've had quite a lot of the symptoms.
I feel like you've had a lot of the symptoms in order for you to be well versed and prepared to be able to share in the way that you do,
definitely.
To educate and inform the rest of us.
And you know why I say it's empowering as well? Because you know, I was saying earlier, like, I'm like, not today menopause, you're not going to take me out. Yeah. Like, having that power of being like, okay, I know my body's doing these things, but it's happening. I'm not saying like push through, because then that can lead you to be ill. Yeah. But you can kind of be like, but I can get out for a walk. I can empower myself. I can go to the gym. I can say no. I can have an early night. I can still do things that are within my power to make me feel better. And that is like a really good place to be. Yeah. So there are, I promise, there are a lot of positives that come with it. And it's like, it's fun finding out, like, really, my body can do that.
Can do these things, yeah. See?
My body can try and mash me up when it's ready. No, I'm joking.
And then behave when it shouldn't be, but whatever. No, I hate you. Shakira, thank you so much for your time today.
You're welcome.
It's been crazy informative. And lots to think on and be aware of and start to prep for, which I think is super, super key for anyone, right?
And just empowering you to be ready. And, a lot of people do sail through it Obviously we do hear stories like mine, and then you start to think, oh my God, like, is that what's going to happen to me? But there are a lot of women that I've met women, and they're like, oh, I had a hot flush for a few days, and then my period stopped, and then I was fine, and now I'm postmenopause, and I'm like, oh, okay. But
good for you.
Yeah. Then I get out my book.
Been through this, been through this, going through that right now. I hate it, but no, thank you.
But thank you so much for having me. It's been so good. As you can see, I talk a bit too much.
All good. For anyone listening who wants to learn more, follow Shakira on Instagram at Fitness with Shakira and check out her website for resources, coaching and events. As always, thank you for tuning into Milk Mummies. Don't forget to subscribe, share this episode with a friend who needs it, and keep the conversation going. Until next time, mamas, take care of yourself. You deserve it.